What's up, guys? Glenn here, back on the Function Powersports YouTube. Today we got Jordan here from Anthem Off-Road Wheels, and we got a new topic for you guys that we haven't done quite like this before. So, as most of you know, Polaris Rangers have been a very common UTV for a long time. Basically, Polaris just launched an all-new Polaris Ranger XP Kinetic, which is an EV Polaris Ranger model, but with very high performance standards compared to like an old school electric one where it'll be like a golf cart. We're going to talk about what we think on the all new Polaris Ranger XP Kinetic UTV and kind of do some pro and con of gas versus electric here. So you ready to do this, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. All right, so coming from my background, I do a ton of trail riding. I've never really grown up on a farm where it's like using a Polaris Ranger for work. I more so have the trail riding experience there. So I just kind of pulling you in. What's kind of your background with the UTVs?
From my background isn't really into the trail riding or even like the ranch management type of thing, but from a functional perspective, I mean, I use them a lot for hunting, for just basic land management. So yeah, from a functional perspective, decent background, especially in the Polaris market.
Heck yeah. What we want to talk about is we'll compare some price points here, but then also the power aspects of these machines. So like Polaris Ranger XP1000, the gas models, you know, those are fairly powerful machines, but you know, they are running on gas. So it comes to this discussion of what do we think of that brand new electric Polaris Ranger that has 110 horsepower and an 80-mile range, which seems like quite a bit actually for what it is. My take on it would be, you know, 80-mile range, pretty solid distance. You could do a little bit of trail riding or go to your local supper club if you live out in the country.
Yeah, and that's my thought right away on the 80-mile range. You hear that right away and you're like, oh, okay, 80 miles, that's not as far as a gasser's gonna go.
Right.
But when you're thinking of a functional user, again, back to my uses for them, I'm never going 42 miles into the woods to go get anything accomplished and then trying to come 42 miles back. It could easily accomplish both of those for the range. My only immediate thought on the range with any electric vehicle and now an electric Powersports vehicle is what happens when you run out?
What's the backup plan
exactly,
once that range is dead?
Yeah, what's the backup plan? Because again, on a gasser, if I'm going into the woods, it takes nothing to throw a little gas can in the bed, and 90% of the time I have one back there anywhere for the saws or for whatever I'm out there working on. So I have a backup plan with me at all times, where there's not an outlet when I'm deep in the woods.
I could see, you know, maybe you got a generator mounted in the back of that Polaris Ranger box, but then you're eliminating your cargo.
Yep.
And then you're going to be using gas to power that. But, you know, how fast can you charge that Ranger back up to actually go? Maybe you got to get 10 miles back home.
Yeah.
Or if you're out in the field, you're like, shoot, it died on me. What are you going to do if you're out in the farm field?
Yep.
So that's something I personally didn't see any specs on. But, you know, maybe there's a charge time rating. Cause
yeah, I believe they were saying somewhere in the 5-hour range for a full charge.
But for like that quick boost charge, just to get you home kind of thing.
Yeah, and again, throwing a generator in the back, again, a 1 pound, 2 pound gas can to a 40, 50 pound generator.
Right.
It can handle it, but again, more space than a gas can and way more weight than a gas can will ever be.
Exactly.
There's still tons of pros that we can walk through. That's for sure. The range is, I mean, really, when we're going to talk pros and cons, the range is like one of the few cons I have on this entire machine.
So Jordan's background, he does a lot of hunting, a lot of outdoor stuff. You know, this machine's got to be pretty quiet.
Yeah.
So instead of it being a loud muffler or just a gas machine where the engine's fairly loud, we're talking this is all electric. So fairly stealthy if you're going into the woods.
Yeah, one of my biggest takeaways from it is the noise, both the going in and coming out. I think of it immediately. This seems damn near silent, that you can basically just be, you could creep in there, turn that thing off, turn it a full fire up, and it's going to be silent. I mean, that's
well, and the cool thing about it too is like a normal Polaris Ranger, a lot of people are thinking, man, is this a different chassis? It's the exact same chassis, same roll cage and four-wheel drive system. Yep. So really the only thing you're losing is that gas versus electric power here.
Yep.
So, I mean, heck, even in terms of accessories, can totally deck out the Kinetic model Ranger as if it was an XP1000 Ranger.
Yeah.
So
another huge pro too is that the compatibility with the gas machine. I mean, honestly, a big plus for Polaris and a huge win in my opinion for for them is doing that, and they're pushing 95% compatibility with their accessories coming back, so that they didn't use this as a ploy to get people into a whole new everything.
Right.
They said, hey, we simply just want to give you a better machine, an electric machine, but still use everything. You still have current state.
I mean, you
or
can swap over your windshield, you can swap over your full doors, whatever it may be. All that's just swap it on over, which is, I think that's a huge pro, and that's probably the best way Polaris could have like introduced a true performance electric machine to the market. And like with what we're doing here at Function Powersports, the goal here is to help all the riders, you know, build out their machines from start to finish. So being this, the Kinetic model Ranger does just that. I mean, what better way than to kind of, you know, bring it to market a little bit to say like, hey, we can still throw aftermarket wheels and tires on that as if it was the normal one, which is sweet.
Completely agree. Another huge pro that they touch on and that we can touch on is that no gas means no spark plugs, no oil changes, no filters.
Low maintenance.
Yeah, the low maintenance aspect, again, especially for me being in the woods, is huge.
We almost need to see if Polaris can get us one of these machines. They are sold out on the websites, meaning everyone's already pre-ordered them to the max that Polaris is willing to commit to. So it's like, man, I would love personally to see how that performance is, because 110 horsepower, electric UTV, that's got to be pretty quick, because it does have the like switchable modes on it for your work mode, your normal, and like a more of a sport mode.
Yep.
So seeing what that performance aspect is, I'm extremely curious to see what it's like in comparison to like a direct, you know, just the gas Ranger 1000.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to test, especially that they touch on in their launch video, but you can kind of tell that they're really not doubling down on it, is how does it handle exactly current state today that we film, and it's about -20 outside right now.
Like, would it start today?
Exactly. Would it start today, and 80 miles of range, does that quickly become 60, 55?
20.
Yeah, like 20, exactly. And then again, what happens? I want to take that out ice fishing with me today. I leave at 6 in the morning. At 4 p.m. when I come out of that shack and that thing's been sitting in -20 for the last 9 hours,
right?
Is it gonna turn over?
Because a lot of the gas machines will struggle with this real cold weather to just start and then to run efficiently. So I'd say Polaris killed it with the concept, 100%.
Yep.
You know, it makes sense. The power's there. You're not losing out on any of the capabilities. But what we don't know personally is we can't say how well it works.
Yep.
In our current Wisconsin elements of, like you said, -10, -20 with wind chill, I mean, it is freezing. And up here, a lot of people ice fish all winter. Yeah. So would this be an alternative for, you know, ice fishermen to go a mile out into the lake, back to their truck? Would it work? Would it start? That's all stuff I think would be a really interesting thing to find out.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, Polaris, we're talking to you.
Yeah.
I'll send one of these in here.
Make sure to tag Polaris down below. We'll tag them on all our socials because we'd love to find out.
Please.
That'd be awesome. A lot of you might be wondering, what kind of price points are we looking at for these machines? What we got figured out is if you want a Polaris Ranger XP1000 gas machine, you're going to be looking at about 20 grand right at the door. So just to start to get into one. With the Polaris Ranger Kinetic models, we got two options there. We got the Premium and we got the Ultimate. So with the Premium, you'll be coming in at about 25 grand starting point, and then with the Ultimate, about 30 grand. So there is a price jump there. It's not, you know, I guess in UTV world, it's not tremendous, but in an everyday person kind of just thinking about it, like, man, that is quite a hop.
Kind of like you said, I mean, the horsepower, the tow capacity, the specs are an improvement. You're not getting equal model electric. You are getting a lot of upgrades, honestly, a lot of steps up, and you're going electric, and you're going to save on that fuel. So I see the balance in cost. I could rationalize it in my head pretty much.
Like you could justify it.
Yeah, I could justify doing it, and it would not be in the I'm going to make it up in gas costs. It would be I'm getting the performance upgrades from this machine. That's how I would talk myself into it.
So, I mean, with that, we've never really done like a review video on a new machine. This XP Kinetic Ranger just came out in like the last month, so very new to market, and we figured what better way to bring it to our followers and our fans on YouTube and kind of like deep dive what our first thoughts are on this machine. So we obviously hope you liked this video. Give it a like down below if you did enjoy watching, and comment down below, are you taking a gas Polaris Ranger or are you taking electric? So it's kind of a toss-up for me right now until I really get to see one or maybe test drive one. But it does sound like Jordan's kind of got, you know, the route he'd go.
Yeah, I would lean towards the electric. That quiet ride is huge for me. That would be a major selling point. And then again, performance. Pretty much every single aspect you look at, it is an improvement in performance. And I'm not a range guy. I'm not a trail guy. I won't have to ever worry about those 80 miles. So it would be electric for me.
Heck yeah, I'm excited to see what the market does with these, because this could lead to a Polaris RZR, you know, having electric. Like, see what the market could handle and what takes off with it.
Yep.
Well, make sure to subscribe. You're not going to want to miss out on more content we got coming soon, and we'll see you next time. Peace.